All right, I think we're back. Are we back? Hello? Are we back? I think we're back. I think we're back. Okay, sorry guys. Wi-Fi was tweaking, but we're back. Okay, that was weird. Sorry guys. All right, so where do we leave off? Colston Loveland. That was crazy. My bad for the technical difficulties there. Still says we're offline. I don't think that's wrong. I think we're. Are we good? Let me refresh. Real quick. Okay. Yeah. We're good. Okay. Sorry. We're back. We back. Yes. Bennett, I saw you said you disagree with my Jackson Dart take. Please inform. But I'm gonna keep going. Anyways, Colston Loveland. It's a pick that makes a lot of sense. Oh, let me switch that over. Okay. Anyways, Colston Loveland. It's a pick that makes a lot of sense. The connection's there. Harbaugh is going to get his guy. Great receiver. Chargers need help at tight end, and it just makes a lot of sense, right? You can't have Ladd McConkey being your only guy. You bring back Mike Williams to play the Quentin Johnston role, and it just makes a lot of sense for them to have a good tight end. So that's what I have them doing. Next up is the Green Bay Packers, and I have them taking Jade. Wait, do I? Hold on. Timeout. Yeah. I'm taking Jade Barron. And, while Jade Barron isn't a traditional corner, he still can play the corner role. Like, he plays very good man defense. And, I think he's going to be a great player. He could line up at safety potentially. He can line up at corner. So I think there's a lot of versatility with Jade Barron, and I think that's really what Green Bay will need. It's definitely going to be, excuse me. Ooh. Almost forgot to switch windows. My bad. But I think it's going to be Jade Barron. He can play a lot of roles on the defensive side of the ball. He could play safety. He could play on the boundary. I do think there's a lot of potential for him. So I do like Jade Barron a lot going to the Green Bay Packers. Next up is the Minnesota Vikings. And I have the Vikings, I have them taking Nick Eamon-Worry, who, he came in and blew everyone away with the athletic ability. Oh, are we? Okay. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Revelry is fighting me today with this podcast thing. But I think we're good. But, Nick Eamon-Worry, he came in, blew everyone away in the combine. He's got insane athletic ability. So I do love the Nick Eamon-Worry pick here to come play safety for the Minnesota Vikings. Next up is going to be the Houston Texans. And I have the Houston Texans taking Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons, he really looked great down the stretch for the Buckeyes. He could play multiple positions. And, he's going to be a great pickup. The Texans, they just traded Laramie Tunsil. So I think there's definitely a spot open for Josh Simmons on that offensive line. And I think it's a position that needs to be filled immediately if they want to compete for a playoff spot. So give me Josh Simmons to the Texans. Next up is the LA Rams. And the LA Rams really have a lot they can go here. But, I have them going offensive line, actually, and going Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. Really big riser from the Senior Bowl in the Combine. He had a great Combine, and his stock keeps rising. So I do think he does make it into the first round. And it's a great pick, especially if they're trying to run it back with Stafford, in my opinion. Obviously, Stafford is getting up there in age, so you need to protect him as much as possible. You bring in Devontae Adams. You have Puka Nacua. So I do think it's a pick that makes a lot of sense. So give me Gray Zabel to the LA Rams. Next is the Baltimore Ravens. And I have the Baltimore Ravens taking Mykel Williams. It's just a pick that makes a lot of sense here. Mykel is probably some of the highest ceiling in this class. And he's really good against the rush, has the potential to be a great pass rusher. Obviously, kind of struggled last year, but, he had Jalen Walker on the other side of him. And he had a nagging foot injury since week 1. So we're going to see if that's what it is. I think that's the reason why he's been falling in so many mocks. But I think that he does have the potential to be a great pass rusher, and I do think he gets overshadowed. But I think Michael Williams is a great pick, especially if he falls to here at the Ravens. Even letting him sit a year and develop is going to be huge for his career. So I love Michael Williams going to like a developmental place like the Baltimore Ravens here. Next up is the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions going to stay on the edge train. They're going to pick James Pierce Jr. The Lions need another sure pass rusher alongside Aiden Hutchinson. So, James Pierce being here is just perfect for them. If it's not, obviously if James Pierce is not available, let's say, for instance, I do think it's like a Donovan Ezuraku kind of pick. But I think James Pierce Jr. is going to be available here and will be a great pickup for the Detroit Lions. I mean, obviously this guy is like, he was projected to be like the number 1 overall pick to start the year. But James Pierce Jr. at 28. Next, at 29, we're going to go with the Washington Commanders, and they're going to pick Donovan Ezuraku. Ezuraku should be a guy who goes in the first round. He's one of the best all-around edge, or if not, he is the best all-around edge rusher in this class. He's got a great repertoire, and I think it makes sense for a Commanders team who just lost some firepower in the D-line. Obviously, you lose Jonathan Allen, but I do think there's a spot for Donovan Ezuraku to be coming off the edge, especially when your other like outside linebacker / edge rusher is going to be Frankie Louvu. I do think there's definitely a need for that position. So give me Donovan Ezuraku on the edge. Next is the Buffalo Bills. And sticking with the defensive line train, I'm going with Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. He had 40 pressures in college, which was the most this season, like most in college last year. And the Bills need help in the interior. They obviously brought in some guys, and then I forget who it was, but instantly got popped for PEDs. So they're going to be missing some firepower in the interior, even with the signings they had this offseason. And I think Derek Harmon is just another guy where like they can plug him in there and he'll be great. And I really like the fit with Derek Harmon alongside Ed Oliver. I think that's going to be great. So give me Derek Harmon there. Excuse me. Next is the Kansas City Chiefs. This is also a pick that hasn't changed for me, but it's going to be Josh Connerly, the tackle out of Oregon. Really and truly, Chiefs need a tackle, and Josh Connerly is the best option in my opinion. Next up is the Eagles, and the Eagles, I have them going Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Really and truly, it's like all about replacing. It's all about replacing Milton Williams, I think, for the Eagles with their first overall pick, or first round pick, sorry. But Milton Williams obviously is gone. You need another, third guy on that rotation. You have Jalen Carter, you have Jordan Davis, but I think it's going to be important to bring in a guy like Kenneth Grant. So I think that's just what they do. So that's Mock Draft 4.0. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But we're going to pivot to the Final Four real quick, just so we can talk about it. So Final Four, it's right now we got Duke and Houston and Auburn and Florida. And in my bracket, I have Houston beating Duke and Florida beating Auburn. I think this Houston game, it's going to be really competitive. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than people think. Houston is probably the best defensive team in the nation, especially out of the teams left, in my opinion. But, Houston absolutely shut down Tennessee, which was a super high-powered offense in the SEC. And, Duke is a generational team this year. But I do think Duke, I think if they had one weakness, it would be the Houston Cougars. So, that's why I have Houston winning it all this year. So I do think, the defense is going to win them the championship maybe, hopefully. But, yeah, Houston versus Duke. And then on the other side, we got Florida and Auburn, a classic SEC matchup, which I think they've already met multiple times this year. Well, I know they've already met multiple times this year. I wonder if I could get the head-to-heads. But, oh, man, here we go. Yeah, so in the – let's see. Have they? Yeah, so the first game, Auburn lost to Florida 90-81. At least, yeah, I guess that's the only time they've played this season. But, Florida does have the head-to-head against Auburn. So, if I'm Auburn, I'm going to be like, I want to win this game. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup, especially between the two really number one teams in the SEC, or the top two teams in the SEC. It's going to be a pretty interesting matchup for sure. So I think it will be like Houston and Florida. That's my pick. That's the pick I had in my bracket, to be honest. But I do think it's going to be, both are going to be really great games, and I can't wait to watch them this weekend, right? But anyways, let's go ahead and pivot again. I didn't really have much to say there. Let's go ahead and talk about baseball, right? Who doesn't love baseball? I love baseball. Anyways, let's just go on, let's just talk about, the first week. I don't really have anything to show for that, but we'll switch it back to me. So, baseball, first week of the season. I mean, it's been really exciting. I've been loving watching it. I've been keeping up with it very hardcore. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Probably not, because I don't know. Why would you notice? But anyways, I've been keeping up with baseball super heavy this first week, trying to, get my mind right, learn all the things I can about the game. Like, not learn, because I know the game, but, just make sure I'm on top of my information. So, just a couple of quick pointers, like things that are immediately off my head. Torpedo bats. I think it's very interesting. I think it's good. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think last season we saw a lot of really good pitching. So it's, grind set, exactly. No, we've seen a lot of really good pitching last season, especially between like Chris Sale, Tariq Skubal. Like, there's a ton of great pitching last season. And I do think it's good that we get some hitting back in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously it's not like we're like juicing, it's not like the juiced era. We're just changing the bats a little bit. And if the NFL, sorry, if the MLB thinks it's fine, then to me it's like not a big deal, right? Like, the MLB is like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's in regulation. Then it's in regulation. Like, and then every other team's going to do it. So I think it's really, it looks goofy, I guess, but like, it's not like any big deal to me. The Bronx Bombers, the pioneers of it, tied the record for most runs scored in first 3 games, which is insane. But we love to see that. What else has been kind of surprising? The Braves. Oh my gosh, the Braves start has been awful. I mean, like, I don't know what happened. It's like we sold our soul to the Devils to get the 2021 World Series. Like, obviously there's no Strider, there's no Acuna, then Profar gets popped for PEDs, is out for 80 games and can't play in the playoffs. And with the PED thing, it's like, it's so goofy to me, because he's like, I got tested 8 times last season and I didn't get popped for it. It doesn't matter. You still did. Like, I don't get it. Like, it was definitely like, it's hard to explain it, right? Because he has the like biggest jump out of anyone. He's a super prospect pretty much, where like he was a guy who's kind of like on the fence, and then all of a sudden has this great season, gets in the lab with Fernando Tatis's dad, who ironically, Fernando Tatis, when he got in the lab with his dad, also got popped for 80 games. So like, the Braves low-key should have seen it coming before they spent $42 million on him over 3 years. But, at least the contract is structured to where it's $12 million this year and then 14 the rest. I don't know. It's really a bad deal. But, the Braves offensively, like, no one's hitting. The best hitter on the Braves right now is Nick Allen. Like, where'd the offense go? Like, the team batting average is 137. Like, I don't know what happened. The Braves have more suspensions than like hits with runners in scoring position or something. Like, it's actually insane. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. Like, it's not like the team is that much different, especially like pushing last year towards the playoffs. Like, it's the same team pretty much, minus a few minor guys. Like, I guess Darno is a big loss, or maybe Duvall. Not really though. Like, you still have Albies, you still have Olsen, you still have Riley. Like, that in itself, you still have Ozuna. Like, those 4 guys in itself should be your offense. But Ozuna's getting walked at an electric rate. I guess he's leading the league, and he's the most walked player so far in baseball. But the rest of the offense is just not there. Michael Harris is not there. Matt Olson's not there, which is not good, because I have a season home run parlay. But anyways, I digress. Let me think of some other stuff. the Padres obviously starting undefeated. So same with the Dodgers. Kind of big stuff there. Roki Sasaki in his debut wasn't that great. Started crying, which is fair. But like it was kind of like a glaring issue, and that I noticed with Roki is like the velo change. Like obviously there was a time and a place in Japan where he was hitting out 103 on the fastball, 101 or something, and now it's down to like 97. And obviously, I think he came over, it was said that he came over looking to go to a team that could develop his fastball. And obviously, it's looking pretty rough. But, you have him on a minor league contract right now as the Dodgers. So at least I believe so. That's why he was able to come so early. So I do think that, he's going to be fine. But he may have to go down to the minors. And especially for a team like the Dodgers, where they are so loaded. Like Dustin May pitched and looked electric against the Braves, and he hasn't pitched in 600 days. So it's like the Dodgers rotation is so loaded that they can afford to send Roki down to the minors if they have to. Like I don't think it's a big deal. If he has options. I'm pretty sure he has minor league options. But, what else is there is a big thing for me? Texas. The Rangers look great. The Rangers look electric. They have great players. Just to think of a few, Adolis Garcia. There we go. Wyatt Langford, Jonah Heim. They're playing great. The pitching, Nathan Eovaldi looked great. In his past 2 starts, he had a complete game shutout. Had the Maddox, I believe. He had 99 pitches. So, yeah, give me the Maddox. I love, Eovaldi looked great. DeGrom looked really good in his first start this season. Jack Leiter even looked good. I think he's got hurt, but Jack Leiter looked good in his first 2 starts, So I do think the Rangers are definitely a team to watch out for this season. And wouldn't be surprising if, they made a deep playoff run, honestly. I do like the Texas Rangers a lot. Kansas City putting it together pretty well, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong. They're 2-4. But, guys who you kind of have been waiting on, like Maikel Garcia. Maikel Garcia, we kind of been waiting for that big season from him. And it's looking like this season might be it. He's batting .353, 2 home runs, 421 on base, and then 824 slugging. Great stuff from Maikel Garcia, which is kind of what we've been waiting for. And Pasquantino, he has 4 RBIs, but the average is not there. Obviously, we're still very early into the season. But the pitching as well. You have, Cole Reagans, who kind of got blown up a little bit in his first game. But the second start yesterday, struck out 10 guys, looked really good. Chris Bubich pitched very well the other day, which was, I think it was against the Brewers. Let me see. Yeah, goes 6, strikes out 8, no earned runs, 2 walks, pitched a great game. Love that from Chris Bubich. But, I really like Kansas City. Miami, is a team we kind of thought was going to be, not great at all. And, I remember talking with Josh about it, still losing 100 games. And I do think that's still going to happen. But it's they're 4-3 right now. They won the series against the Pirates. They're playing the Mets right now, and the Mets won the series. But they haven't looked bad. They haven't looked great. But Otto Lopez looks really good. 345, slugging 552. Slugging's not great. But anyways, batting 345 and 2 home runs. 7 RBIs. He's playing very well, in my opinion. So we like that for the Marlins. They need all the help they can get. Seattle's another team where I really like Logan Gilbert. The offense for Seattle is just not there. Victor Robles is your leader in batting average. It's just not a good look. But pitching wise, Luis Castillo kind of had a rough first start, but bounced back yesterday. Logan Gilbert, also another guy who I really like a lot on this team, Brian Wu as well. Bryce Miller, great guys. You got 3 guys who can give you 3 quality starts in a row. So I really like this the Seattle Mariners team. Miami walked off the Pirates 3 times. Yeah, that's pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie. That is pretty rough. But what's another team I've been hyping up recently? I can't even think right now. Sorry, that nap killed me. Houston. Houston, everyone thought Houston was low key gonna struggle this year, but honestly, they're not that bad off right now. Somehow the Angels are 4-2. I just realized that the Angels are 4-2. That's kind of ridiculous. But Altuve, even in the outfield, has been playing just fine. Yordan Alvarez, despite the average is pretty rough for Yordan, but 4 RBIs. And the pitching for Houston has been great. Framer Valdez has Framer Valdez has been getting hit a little bit more than usual, but Spencer Arrighetti's been really good. Hunter Brown's been really good. If you know, you know. Hunter Brown over strikeouts. But Renel Blanco, I think he got blown up pretty bad, yeah. But the pitching has not been bad for Houston, and I really like that for them. I really like the Houston Astros. I really like what they're doing right now, despite they're obviously cheaters. But what is it? The Angels. Yeah, what in the world is going on in LA? Why are the LA Angels 2-0? I guess it's because they've played the White Sox and the Cardinals, but they won the series against the Cardinals, and then they won the series against the White Sox, which obviously it's the 2 worst teams in baseball, and it's really funny because that first game on opening day, the White Sox beat the Angels 8-1, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, the Angels are so poverty, they're gonna suck." But then they come out the next game, bring out Jose Soriano, and Jose Soriano was electric. I think he had seven shutout, 5 Ks, 7 shutout. It was a great game from Jose Soriano. And then Yusei Kikuchi has not been that bad. He gets shelled a little bit here and there, but he hasn't been that bad. But obviously they've played the White Sox and the Cardinals, so maybe they're just lucky. But I don't know. I really like this team, or I don't like this team. I'm gonna be real, but it's not. I don't think they're as bad as people think. I do think there's some promise, right? Jose Soriano, I think has kind of legit potential. Yusei obviously is gonna he's solid. Yusei Kikuchi is solid, but I really I'm just ripping this off the dome or something, but it's really not that bad. Even Kyle Hendricks, in his start 2 days ago was not bad. It's just Ian Anderson is kind of bad. I can't tell though. Ian Anderson, he comes in a game and looks good, and then gets shelled for 4 earned runs the next game. Maybe that's why the Braves traded him. But I don't know. Maybe we could use Ian Anderson now. Maybe we win a game with Ian Anderson. I don't know. But that's all I'm going to ramble about on baseball for now. Next time, we'll maybe get more in depth. I'll actually write something down instead of just ripping it off the dome. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. But, if you guys don't know, come draft day, so April 24th, we will be doing a live show for the draft. I'll be here, maybe in my room. I might trying to decide, what we're going to do here. We might do a setup in the living room where we get everyone on the couch. I just need to figure out sound-wise how that would work because I don't know if it would work. I have multiple microphones, but I don't want to be sitting there holding a microphone the whole time, but I may have to, which wouldn't be the worst, but I don't know. I don't know how this whole setup would work. So it might just be in here, and I might just have it, have the ticker on, and then my reaction to the pick, and we can all hang out, have a good time. It'd be good vibes. It'd be great vibes. But that is all for today on this week's episode of That's an Awful Take, with some technical difficulties today. We love that, but the world's going to try and throw us a curveball, but they're hanging it, and I'm sending it 450 dead center. Anyways, I'm Price Mancer, your host with the most, here to make the most out of your day. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please follow us on social media at TAATpod, Instagram and TikTok. I will start posting on there, I promise. Just give me a second. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all so much for making this so fun. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later.